You may have realized that being healthy feels different than it did in the past now that you're over 50. If you want to maximize your health potential but don't have time to read through overwhelming pages of Google links, this is the show for you. Welcome to Healthy Tips After 50. We love doing the research, finding solutions, talking to health experts, and learning what works and what doesn't. Now, your host. She spent the last 25 years dedicated to feeling her best and is here to share her best findings with you, Susan Rosen.
Hi everyone, this is your host Susan Rosen. I spent a lot of time this week trying to decide what I wanted to share with you all on this week's podcast. I found some interesting information about quite a few different subjects, but I decided to talk about mindfulness and meditation again. I know that I've talked about it before from a couple of different angles. Today I'm going to talk about it in ways that it can help with anxiety, stress, and your overall health and wellness. That is so very important now as we continue to deal with the many ups and downs of the COVID-19 pandemic. There are a lot of people who thought that this would all be on its way to being over by now, but it's actually worse than it was 3 months ago. And there have been a lot of accusations and disagreements going on, and it takes some time to sort through the information and decide what's true and what's not. The hardest thing to watch is the denigration and questioning of science and scientific facts. I have no doubt that just by itself, that is creating a lot of anxiety for a lot of people. The real facts are worrisome enough, but if you think it's fake information, then I'm sure it's even more worrisome when you actually start to realize that it is all true. So enough said about that. That's a rabbit hole of its own. So let's talk about how to lower your anxiety and the accompanying stress, because that in itself will strengthen your immune system and help you to stay healthy. I know that I've spoken before about how mindfulness meditation has become the go-to therapy for so many different physical issues: chronic pain, high blood pressure, overall brain health, as well as for stress and depression. It's been very gratifying to see how meditation has become more and more mainstream. It's not necessary to go to a Buddhist center or a dojo or a monastery these days to learn a meditation practice. You can get it from an app on your phone, like the UCLA Mindfulness app, or you can go to an online or offline, hopefully at some time in the near future, exercise class, and they will have you do a meditation at the end. Meditation and mindfulness is popping up all over. You can watch YouTube videos to learn, and you can get on Zoom or Google to do it with other people. So first, let me say that you should check some of these out and find one that you like and that you will do. Meditation is something that you have to do regularly in order to develop what is known as a practice. That's because it is something that becomes more valuable to your body and brain as you exercise that muscle, just like with physical exercise. People have been meditating for thousands of years, no matter how obscure you may think it is. As I said before in earlier podcasts, it has very much hit the mainstream, and it's really about time. Like a lot of things that are good for you, modern medicine is still trying to figure out exactly how it helps you. They just all agree that it does. There has been some research into it, and they know that it calms the nervous system and puts you into a relaxed state. Relaxing affects your organs and muscles, the ones that control breathing, sweating, as well as your heartbeat. And the studies have identified changes to the immune and endocrine systems, as well as to helping memory, emotion, and learning areas of the brain. Meditation has also been shown to help people modify and improve their response to stress with an increased awareness of their thoughts and emotional responses. There have been studies showing that meditation can help people with cancer to lessen and or relieve the stress, anxiety, as well as the fatigue associated with it. And the list goes on with more areas and items being added to it every year. I saw a definition of mindfulness as, quote, the state of being fully cognizant of all things in your field of awareness in the present moment. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, and everyone and everything around you. Now, end quote. Now, being in the moment is so important. Being in the present moment. So I'm going to read that to you again. Mindfulness is, quote, the state of being fully cognizant of all things in your field of awareness in the present moment. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, and everyone and everything around you, unquote. That is actually very accurate to how you feel while you're doing it. And the more you do it, the more you feel that sense of awareness. We used to say in the Buddhist center that I used to go to, which was that what you needed to do then was to take that feeling with you off of the cushion and out into your daily life in order to really get the good things from it and bringing more awareness into your brain and into your life. There are a number of different therapies that are taught in mindfulness training. One of those is mindfulness meditation, which starts with a focus on the breath. And as one advances in the practice, you learn to be aware without judgment of, quote, what else is present in your consciousness while retaining your main focus on the breath, unquote. An easy meditation focusing on your breath is to sit comfortably somewhere on a chair or on the couch, a pillow on the floor. You get the idea. I would not suggest that you lie down because it's way too easy to fall asleep. I know, I'm telling you that from experience. I have done it myself. Anyways, back to the breathing meditation. You can either close your eyes or keep them open, whatever you want to do. If you do keep them open, then focus somewhere on the ground, a couple of feet or a foot in front of you. Take a deep breath in to the count of 3. Hold it for 3. Exhale fully for 3. Hold it for 3. And then start again by taking that deep in-breath to the count of 3. Simple, but oh so hard to do without thinking about everything you just did, have to do, want to do, your plans for tonight or tomorrow, on and on and on, as I'm sure that you can see where that's going. You'll see, though, that it's a lot of fun trying to just focus and get your thinking to slow down. Your mindfulness becomes the meditation's focus. Mindfulness can also be developed through daily practices like walking, eating, Tai Chi, and yoga. As you see, there are a lot of ways to learn and develop a practice of mindfulness and meditation. You will know you found the right one for you when you don't mind or maybe even look forward to doing it every day. It'll be that time in your schedule and in your life where you know that you can settle down and you can be at peace. If it's a fight with yourself to go sit down on a regular basis, then you might want to look for a different method. There are so many different kinds of meditation out there. If the first one doesn't work, there are plenty of others to try. And you'll find one that does work for you. And don't think that once you've been practicing for a while that it's going to be all nirvana and blissful. It isn't. If you start getting glimpses of quiet after a week or two, you're doing very well. If you find your mind wandering while you're meditating, that's okay. That's normal. Don't be hard on yourself. Just bring yourself back to your breathing or whatever it is that is the place of focus in that particular kind of meditation. You just keep doing that, and that's why it's called a practice. You have to keep practicing to receive the benefits, just like any other exercise. My other suggestion, learned after 35 years of meditating, is to not be too ambitious when you start out. If you can sit and meditate and actually get 2 or 3 minutes of good meditation at a time, during the first week or two, you are going to be doing really, really well. Trying to quiet your mind is going to be one of the hardest things you will ever do and one of the most beneficial once you do it. The Buddhists call it the monkey mind because it's always jumping around. and there isn't a better description of it that I've ever seen. Once you are able to sit successfully for a few minutes, then you can add another minute or 2 or 3 at whatever intervals work for you until you can do it for 10 to 15 minutes. After that, it's up to you how long you want to meditate for each day, or change timings on different days depending on your schedule. If you try using one of the more online apps that you'll find listed in the show notes here, where you're listening to this show, or at my website, healthytipsafter50.com, you may find that it's easier, or that you like doing one of their full guided meditations rather than just following your breath on your own. Like I say, there are so many different kinds of meditations. It should be fairly simple to find one that works for you. Now that we've gone through what it is and how to do it, let's circle back around and talk about why you should do it. Learning how to quiet your mind and to do it on a regular basis gives your brain, mind, and body a rest. You are exercising it in a good way, like going for an enjoyable walk or run. What that does is to de-stress your mind and body and helps you to clear any anxiety that you're feeling. And each time you do it, you will be exercising that mindfulness muscle so that you can use it whenever anxiety or stress wants to creep into your day or night. Years ago, I used to find myself getting stressed during the day. And then when I would lay down to go to sleep for the night, my mind would just start racing, thinking about all of the things that had gone right or wrong during that day, or worrying about something that was going to happen the following day. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. And that was when I would start doing my breathing meditation until I fell off to sleep. Make sure that you keep doing your physical exercise and healthy eating, and add the mindfulness focus and meditation into the mix with them. All of them are necessary to stay relaxed and healthy in all parts of your life. This is all especially important as you age, because stress and anxiety can be even harder on your body and for your body to manage and overcome and lay it down. It's never too late to develop a meditation practice. Learning or pick it back up. Could be you learned it a long time ago. Learning how to relax will help you to keep your brain and body healthy. So follow some of these exercises I talked about, and or go online to find 1 or 2 that work for you. You'll feel better as a result. Please let me know what kind of practice you choose and how it's working for you. I am really very interested in trying to follow what kinds of practices people like and what works for them. And I expect to hear great things from all of you. And don't forget to check the show notes for the links to the different places online where you can find, learn, and listen to different guided meditations or other ones, different kinds of meditations. They don't necessarily have to be guided, but at least that will walk you through it. If you find that after doing some type of regular meditation that you're still experiencing a lot of anxiety and stress in your life and would like to talk further about what has helped me to relax, balance, and refresh my life, even in this time of COVID-19, please send me an email at susan@susanrosen.com. It would be great to talk with you and see how I can share some of what I've learned with you. On a totally different subject, for those of you who listened to last week's interview with Jared Levinson, I wanted to tell you that I am the guest on Jared's podcast that's coming out this week. And surprise, we're talking all about meditation and both of our experiences in Buddhist centers and finding our place of focus and balance. Jared's podcast is called Eating Enlightenment, and his podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts. If you go to his website, eatingenlightenment.com, the podcast actually is already up there. If you listen to the interview, please let me know what you learned and what you thought of it. And I will also put that info of where to find it into the show notes of today's show as well. Now is the point where I will remind you that I am not a doctor and this show is not medical advice. If you are experiencing a medical issue or medical emergency, please call your doctor or 911 for assistance. Otherwise, what I'm sharing is what I've learned and partly what's worked for me and things that I plan on bringing into my life. And I will look forward to talking to all of you next week.
This has been Healthy Tips After 50 with Susan Rosen. To stay on the cutting edge of the most effective health strategies, subscribe to this podcast and let us know what you thought of the show with a comment or like on iTunes. Visit healthytipsafter50.com for this episode's show notes, more resources, and free offers.